Dear student who's participating in gender mainstreaming class, you're most welcome to the 7th session of agroecology training with a focus on gender. Today, we are focusing on gender mainstreaming in agricultural research. We've looked at so many issues in gender, but the most important I'd like to encourage you is to understand gender as a construction, a constructed idea which resulted in bringing differences, because our communities long ago considered gender differences basing on our sexual differences as male and female. But we find that these differences in the biggest area of our social living, in our interactions, is not so pronounced to limit our progress, to limit our coexistence. So by understanding gender as a social construction, that means we can work hard towards deconstructing the negative attributes that are bringing the sex differences and promote values that promote, improve or elevate our cooperation. Our focus on gender in agricultural research is very important today, because it's going to help us to look at how can we promote full participation, equal opportunity for females and males to be good researchers and produce knowledge that's going to promote us. My name is Msowos Paul Stephen, your facilitator in gender mainstreaming in agriculture at Mountains of the Moon University. We begin with why a gap in research when it comes to equal participation of females and males. Our focus on gender mainstreaming in research is very important in the fight against inequalities, social inequalities, where one sex becomes more dominant than the other. So the reasons for studying gender in agricultural research, in agroecology, is to help ourselves decolonize or deconstruct the negative understanding of gender in this field. So ending inequalities in research is a value in the development of agriculture sector. Previously, the academic research has been focusing on males, and this brought the domination of males in the research in the agriculture sector. Secondly, even in the development world, research has been dominated by men, because men are perceived as very strong in managing research affairs. So the lack of recognition of the relevance of gender in research has been at the teaching level, at enrollment level, at the teaching level, and even in executing research in the practical sense. Especially, males have been considered as very strong in areas of research than females. But this has the beginning of it, because society has already spoiled the understanding that females are also very good in scientific discoveries, in scientific innovations. Innovations are only for males. But this kind of thinking has been fought for many years. See to it that women are part of research platform, both in academic and development research. So we can see today there are women researchers at different levels, in different fields, in the academia and in the development world, especially for women who are conducting research for development. Women are participating in different careers in the science and the social sector, in the economics training, in other forms of trainings where research is very key. Women are taking part today because of the efforts to decolonize and deconstruct that kind of attitude we held previously. So women for long have been underrepresented in the academia, in scientific careers, predominantly in high level positions of agriculture and research. So gender inequality in agricultural research is based on the following reasons why women did not take much position and did not participate in agricultural research, because earlier on, discriminating with females was high. Discriminating the female scientists to participate in agriculture was embedded within our social values and social society functions. So women were not seen as scientists. Women were seen to take other light fields which did not require high-level thinking. That disrupted their participation in agricultural sciences. Despite the fact that the majority of women were participating in real agriculture, producing food, by tilling land, and doing all sorts of agricultural functions, but they were not included, even in training. Unfair tendencies against girls during enrollment discouraged female students to take up agricultural sciences, and that's why the gap existed. Then the institutional biases that make most women leave the agricultural science to take up other disciplines at secondary and tertiary levels of education. Well, also, it's also being explained by the social cultural factors. For example, the gender stereotyping that act as key barriers to girls and women access to education. So that also disrupted women to take education training in agriculture. So how these negative perceptions affected women, we looked at women were associated with poverty, and that's why they did not participate much in agricultural research trainings, and they missed the opportunity. So even the content and experience in agricultural training did not incorporate gender biases and stereotypes that hinder gender-sensitive learning. Women were told to be not powerful and have competencies in doing scientific studies, especially natural sciences studies. Thus, they were taken to other fields of academic training, and that's why they have the gap of women agricultural researchers in the past. And if it comes to higher level of learning, we shall consider that even universities had some of the biases in institutionalizing women in agricultural research. So institutional cultures were not friendly to women and students to take up research roles as researchers in the agriculture sector. So how do we fight this disparity? by mainstreaming gender in agricultural research. One of the strategies to take is to integrate gender perspectives in activities of agricultural policy. Develop or establish should describe how women should be participating in agricultural research. Then we need to think of research advocacy and have dialogues where women should be part of that promotion, to be heard, to be listened to know their capacity, especially by bringing those who have made cases to refer to. When we are planning for research as institutions of higher learning and research institutions, there should be a bigger percentage of women and their resources being planned for. And they have also the votes to allow them to participate, and which votes cater for their needs, practical and strategic needs. When we are training women researchers, even at PhD and master's level, women should also be part as men as participating in that programming. Inclusion of women and men in implementation and monitoring of research projects. If you want to promote women research in agriculture, at planning level, we need to include women in the different activities of the research project. They should be taking lead, as well as men are taking lead. So there's need to be a balance of male and female participating in the research project. That's why we shall promote the energies, we shall promote the ability of women to love taking lead in researches in agriculture sector. So how can gender be incorporated? It requires a strategy. It requires institutions to plan. It requires institutions to have a framework of how women can participate. For example, beginning at leadership level, they have to be part of that leadership structure. They have to be a part of that leadership platform. We can also have promote the thinking within institutions of research and the institutions of higher learning, where everybody should be gender sensitive, which we call the gender sensitive approach. It has to be done in the way that all males and females have the opportunity to participate when opportunities are availed for them. So the gender sensitive approach integrates women and men in research, practical research, and in the teaching of research. Especially if in class, we have women who are teaching research as both men are teaching research. This is how we shall break the values that bring discrimination. So we shall emphasize on gender balance in the implementation of research projects, where if there is a such project in agriculture that provides opportunity for males and females, there be a fair competition, and then we see where the capacity lies. So the gender sensitive research will answer what is the gender sensitive issue that needs to be addressed in research. This approach will provide equal opportunities where men and women will participate in research projects. It's a very important approach. The gender sensitive approach puts into account the differences between males and females in all aspects of research. Now, when we identify categories of researchers, their capacity to do research, their competencies they have, and in our planning, we need to have the different researchers have opportunities in participating equally. So we look at the content, should be having gender sensitive information, and should encourage all scientists as men and female, big part of them. So we look at how do we integrate it? How do we integrate the gender sensitive research approach in agricultural research promotion? when we're forming the teams to do research, we look at what comprises the team. Are more males and females, or there are more females than males? We need to strike a balance to see both women and males, females and males, or women and male part of the research team. Is the research team at different levels comprising females only? If it's that, then it's bringing gender imbalance. So what about the working conditions? Do they favor females to participate? We look at accommodation, we look at the areas where these researchers are going to be. Are they gender sensitive? Do they promote the different gender needs? And that's where we shall see women getting encouraged, especially when you do agricultural researches that require being sensitive to the different gender needs we have. Then how do you encourage the minority gender to apply for available research positions? It's very important. If females feel that they are not highly respected, they are demeaned, that will discourage them. But in providing the gender sensitive approach to work, you need as a leader to avail equal opportunity at application in terms of participation, and also avail positions which also encourage both men and female to take part in those. So the gender sensitive methodologies in research is very key, and it has been used across. When it comes to implementing agricultural research, we look at the different procedures, think about who should be integrated when it comes to data collection, when it comes to laboratory experiments, when it comes to data analysis, and when we are dealing with production results. Are all women positions available? Are all male positions available? Is there equal participation in terms of entry? So as a leader who's going to be participating in research in agriculture, this should be part of you. So organizations can plan by raising a gender awareness in terms of encouraging all to participate. So in the gender plan, in the plan for conducting research, gender awareness and advocacy should be part of that. In designing, we need to consider the different skills which can encourage all female students, female researchers, male researchers, who are also students or practitioners to be part of that. Now we also should think of transformation plans of wearing away, putting away the gender differences. So plan for transformation trainings which are meant to decolonize or deconstruct the negative feelings, negative thoughts that bring gender differences among us. So this begins at identifying the primary reasons that propagate gender inequalities. That will give ground to address these sources of inequality. So how women have been low in terms of numbers to participate in agricultural research dates back with the values established in our social systems, established by our social systems we have embraced, but also begins with our attitudes on one another as humans that affected the beginning of the inequality in terms of research, female participating in research, and more males dominating research platforms, research fields, because society embraced those negative values, beliefs, and practices. So we can have more women, more males participating in research when we have plans to integrate them in the research strategies and also providing the opportunities for the females to participate as equal as men in our research programs. So that marks the end of our gender mainstreaming in research in agroecology, having focused on the different things, starting with understanding gender, looking at the concept of gender and the differences, looking at the theories that explain the differences between male and female, and also looking at approaches on how we can address these differences, and looking at gender mainstreaming in the real world by looking at gender mainstreaming in development, specifically looking at agroecology, and also looking at how we can integrate gender in agricultural research. So I hope you have understood how the differences have brought inequalities in terms of good cooperation between males and females. By this class coming to you, it will shape your thinking again about how men and males and females can cooperate together and promote agroecology by working together and shunning away the differences. Thank you so much for participating in this class of gender mainstreaming in agroecology. I wish you all the best. My name is Msobos Paul Stephen, a lecturer of gender mainstreaming in agroecology, Mount Elizabeth University. I wish you all the best.